you know, in spite of the fact that I'm older than dirt, I used to go to camp. I went to camp one time. It's, you know, back in the 50s, we had, you know, where the two sticks rubbed together. But now they have camps where they actually have people who won't lose you in the woods. And we've got two such guests with us today, and I'm happy to have them here. Elizabeth Dunn was one of the founders, and she's a volunteer, and she's a former camper. So she's going to be talking directly from experience, right? She's been there, done that. And Samantha Coles is the camp director, and of course, then she can tell us about what Elizabeth did when she was there. And it is the Camp Little Notch in the Adirondacks Mountains, and they're going to tell us about the program they have. I'm going to sit back and listen and ask disturbing questions. Ms. Coles, talk to us. What is, I think I asked you earlier, what is the mission of, what is your mission statement?
Perfect. I just wanted to first say thank you very much. Thank you to WGXC for having us this morning. We're really happy to be here. So we're going to talk a little bit about Camp Little Notch. Just so everyone knows, Camp Little Notch is a property located in Fort Anne, New York. We're in the Adirondack Park, just about an hour and a half north here of Hudson. And Camp Little Notch provides all opportunities for people to practice living in harmony with nature, themselves, and each other. So we have a variety of programs that we offer throughout the season. One of those is our signature program for girls. We have a week-long overnight camp for girls aged 7 to 17, along with a wilderness trip for teenage girls 13 to 17. Then we also offer a number of community and family programs throughout the season. For example, Memorial Day weekend, we have family camp. Our open house this year is on Saturday, June 15th, so we welcome everyone to come up and visit camp. We also have community camping from July 29th to August 5th, which is an all-inclusive package, so we offer a meal service along with a number of organized activities on our property, including yoga, nature walks, arts and crafts. And then we have a women's weekend that runs from September 20 to the 22nd. And I'm going to defer to my friend here, Liz, who's one of our volunteers and a former camper at Little Notch, to give us a little information about why we're here specifically in Hudson today.
Hi.
Yay, Liz.
Thanks for having us again. So I grew up in Cooksaki. I'm a Greene County girl, and I attended Camp Little Notch starting in the 80s. Back then it was a Girl Scout camp. And so through my experience as a camper and later as a staff member, it belonged to the Girl Scouts. And so we, as part of their program, one of the things I did was, as Sam mentioned, this wilderness trip. A big part of what I appreciated about camp was the opportunity for these kind of trips outside for young girls ages 13 to 17. I went on many bike trips, actually, which is something that many people don't have a chance to do. You know, we went out for 4 days, 6 days, 10 days. As we were getting older, we went a little bit further, pushed our limits a little bit more, and were able to be challenged, see a lot of the country in ways that you don't really get a chance to see anymore. And, you know, places like that don't really exist that provide opportunities for kids to really get outside, and especially girls in you know, in a peer group of their own girls to meet these challenges and have the opportunity for these challenges. And so I really feel like a big part of who I am was because of the challenges that I was given at Little Notch, and that's part of why I'm part of the organization now, so that we can continue to provide these opportunities for girls, because I do think it's very important for kids to get outside and
do hiking and stuff like. You know, it's very interesting when I think back. In the 50s, when I was in the equivalent of Boy Scouts, there was a girls group, but they didn't go camping. Girls didn't go into the woods. And when I got out of the Army and I was a Cub Scout master, the same thing. The boys went camping, but the girls didn't, or not quite the same way that the boys did. And so it's so nice to hear that you are directing this towards the girls. So and well, now it's totally different. You know, the girls are out there hiking and trailing. So it's that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a great opportunity. Oh, so, and a big focus of Little Notch is the wilderness aspect. A lot of camps do have facilities that put the kids inside for most of the day, but the way the facilities are set up at Little Notch, it really provides an opportunity for them to learn a lot of these dying wilderness survival skills, fire building, cooking on an open fire.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to
camp.
tell us about that. The wilderness. I need training.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really special about the property up at Camp Little Notch specifically. Is it's a 400-acre property, self-contained property on a pristine 80-acre private lake, which is something that's really, really unique, and everyone who's involved with the organization feels very strongly about conserving the property because it's so special. There are miles and miles of trails and streams that surround us. If you're at all familiar with the Adirondack Mountains, we are nestled in between some of the greatest views in the area. We've got Sleeping Beauty Mountain just down the road. Camp is located right behind Buck Mountain. So again, it's a very special place, and the property is so diverse. You know, if you come up to join us one day, maybe you can come up for open house on the 15th in June. You know, we're going to have guided nature trails and tours available. So yeah, you should definitely take the chance to come up, visit us, walk around, get a feel for the place. But there are so many different parts of the lake, and it's just a really, really special place. It's very easy to feel at peace there and to unplug.
Another unique feature of the property is it features an iron smelting furnace from the Civil War era. The property originally was a mining camp, and so the lake was made larger as a function to help provide fuel and things like that for the iron smelting furnace. So that's still part of the property, and we do some programming with that, and you know, we work with some folks to learn more about it and to help conserve it. But for some history buffs, it is a Civil War era iron smelting furnace and small business community of cellar holes and things that used to be part of this camp, and a little industrial complex of the Civil War era. That's quite fascinating for a lot of people.
All right, I'm a mom in Hudson or Catskill or Coxsackie, and I'm listening to the show and I'm going, geez, that's really interesting. I'd like little Susie to attend. What do I have to know? Are there pre-qualifications? Tell us how we could get into the camp.
Sure. So I would first encourage you to visit our website. Our website is www.camplittlenoch.org, and that's NOTCH. We have a program for girls this year again that runs from July 20th to the 26th, and our campers are all girls aged from 7 to 17. And we also are offering this year a wilderness trip for teenage girls specifically, aged 13 to 17. Our pricing that we offer is based on a tiered system. So we make a point to be very conscious about, you know, the price of camp. Obviously, it could be considered unaffordable for some, but our tiered pricing system gives families the opportunity to pay based on what they can afford. So if you visit our website, you'll find a lot of good information about our pricing system. We also have a number of scholarships available for campers. We call them camperships. This year, we're working to raise $20,000 towards our campership fund. Currently, we are about halfway towards that goal, and these camperships provide campers the opportunity to attend camp. You know, we have a lot of free and subsidized packages available for families.
And I got to ask you, if someone wants to make a contribution to the campership program, how would they go about doing that?
Great. Yeah, you could visit one of two websites. The first, again, is that www.camplittlenoch.org website. And then our overarching organization is the Friends of Camp Little Notch. They also have their own website. It's friendsofcln.org. You could make a donation through either of those websites, and you can specify if you'd like that money to be directed towards our campership fund.
Oh, okay. That really sounds good. So I mean, this parents here in Hudson City proper can contact you and find out you know what your rates are, and it is, as I understand it, you're trying to make it affordable. All right, excellent. Tell me more.
Well, I guess the thing about the organization is that was that I think is very important is it was started by people that were really affected by camp as young adults and children, and so as I said, it used to be part of the Girl Scout organization, but there's been a nationwide restructuring of Girl Scouts that has resulted in sales of camps all over the country, and so there are similar groups to Friends of Camp Little Notch that have sprung up to try to keep these properties that were so important to girls and their development as properties that are going to be available for whether it just be the girls or families to recreate or just to have as open space. So it seems to be almost a nationwide movement of people that have been so affected by camp that they really just have wanted to do this. So we came together as a group of women that went to camp. Another of the founding board members is actually from Valatia, so there's a good Columbia green tie down this way for the organization. And when we came together, we really had no idea how to start an organization or how to do any of this stuff, really, run a business. And it was just that we knew that that camp had been such an important part of our lives that we really wanted to save that and make it available for whoever we could make it available for. And so from a little ragtag bunch of folks on a conference call a couple of years ago, we really built up quite an organization, and to be able to have this will be our second year of programming at camp. The organization was formed in 2009. The property purchase began in about 2010, and we're still working on the final purchase of the property. We had an organization buy it on our behalf from the Girl Scouts, and so we are now working to purchase it from them. So some of the money that we raise also goes towards that. Just the effect that it had on me was amazing, and to come from a small town where you grow up with the same people over and over that was really the first opportunity I had to make friends outside of the people that I had grown up with in Coxsackie, and to really branch out and see what I was capable of as an independent person. And I think that was very important. And coming from a small town, to be in a program that was small enough that I didn't feel like I got lost, but big enough to feel like I could really test my limits, was a great growing experience for me. And I actually worked at the camp last summer too as a counselor. I left my husband home for 5.5 weeks to go up and be a summer camp counselor again, and just to see the girls and to see the change in them from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. We have a little tradition of awkward first night photos where we go around at dinner and just kind of see how everybody's feeling, and then do the same kind of thing at the end of the week, and to see the changes in their faces and the friendships that they've made just over a week is a really powerful and amazing thing. And I hope that we can keep providing that for girls in the future.
Well, Samantha, I see that you have a community programming aspect of everything. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, and I can sort of piggyback off of some of what Liz just said. We're in a really great position this year. We've been given the opportunity to diversify the number of programs that we offer. So outside of our program for girls, as you mentioned, we have a number of family and community programs this year. Coming up in May, we have our Spring Stewardship Weekend. This is sort of opening weekend for us, so it's a chance for all friends, both new and old, to the organization to come and volunteer up at camp. We have a number of service projects available. And then shortly after Spring Stewardship Weekend, during Memorial Day weekend, we have Family Camp. So this is, again, an opportunity for families and children to come and enjoy the property. Community camping is our all-inclusive package, and that takes place from July 29th to August 5th. You can come. We offer a meal service. Again, we have organized activities on the property. And then Women's Weekend, again, is September 20th to 22nd. But outside of all of that, I want to make a point to say that we work with a lot of private organizations, nonprofit organizations, companies, colleges, families, and all of these groups are welcome to come up and rent our property for private use.
There we go.
Exactly. So if it's a family reunion or wedding that you're interested in having, you should definitely come check us out. Again, as I mentioned, we work with a lot of colleges and organizations, so if you're interested in having a retreat or a training in the Adirondacks, it's a great place for that kind of bonding and team building. We have a high ropes course on our property, so we offer ropes course facilitations. We have lifeguards available, a gorgeous waterfront, again, right on that 80-acre private lake. The property really has a lot to offer for everyone.
And for those of us, you know, we live, us Greene and Columbia County folks, we're country. We live out in farmland, and we're rural. But there's a big difference between the Adirondacks and down here. It is gorgeous. It is. I quite frankly think it's second to none. I've seen the California side. The Adirondacks is just greener to me, and it's absolutely gorgeous. If you've never been up to the Adirondacks, you've got to make that trip. It's absolutely fantastic. So this is the setup. What is the? I guess you're planning on getting a particular the girls in there and kind of fostering them along from year to year to year, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep them in the program so they wind up like you.
Right, definitely, and want to be part of this as a lifelong thing. And we just had a reunion. We had a small camper council reunion in March, and we did get, you know, about 15, 20 campers come out and say how excited they were to come back. You know, I think the program that we provide is something that you really can't get other places. You know, we do try to encourage the groups to cook a meal over the campfire once a day. There is a dining hall facility that they can use, but as part of the girls really get to direct the programming while they're there, and that's another big part of it. You know, you don't show up and they tell you Monday you're going to swim at 2 and Tuesday you're going to do art at 3. The girls really decide if the girls in the group don't want to do art, then maybe they don't do art that week.
Oh.
So if everybody really likes to swim and boat, then they focus on that. So they can kind of get out of it what they want. And so there also another part is to do an overnight away from where the usual sleeping area is. You know, we have them pack out tents and they request the food that they're going to eat, so they get to pick what kind of food they want to eat, and we talk about what kind of things they need to order to make. If you want to have macaroni and cheese, what are the things we need to order? How are we going to make it? You know, so they really get to learn a lot about what it's going to take to be a camper in the future and go on these wilderness trips as they get older and you know, have those skills already in place. So I don't think a lot of places really offer that kind of opportunity to learn those skills anymore, and they're quite important, I think. So.
Okay, for those of you who just joined us, you're listening to the WGXC Morning Show. Philip is on your radio, and I am having a very interesting conversation with Samantha Coles, who is the director of Camp Little Notch up in the Adirondacks, and with her is Elizabeth Dunn, who is a co-founder, a volunteer, and she's really excited about the camp since she's private property on a lake, offering overnight camping for girls and other community programs. And you'll be able to take a look, unless I'm mistaken, on June 15th. This is open house, right?
Certainly,
yes.
Everybody.
So, yeah, you just hop in the car and come on up there.
Right.
Yes, we welcome you to join us on Saturday, June 15th. Our open house is going to run from 11 in the morning until 5 in the evening. So you're more than welcome to come up, pack a picnic lunch, enjoy the scenery. Again, we're going to have guided tours. Our staff is going to be available on site to answer any questions you might have about any of our programs. So it's a really great opportunity to check us out.
Check them out on June the 15th.
And if you don't have enough yard work to do at your own house, we have our stewardship weekend, May 17th through 19th. We could use all the hands that we could get. You know, you're welcome to stay over and learn some new skills, put your old skills to the test.
I went outside and I was just watching Hudson's folks working outside on the park. And I asked them if I gave them some beer and pretzels if they'd come over to my house, and they said no. Can you believe that? You can get to Camp Little Notch's website. It is on the World Wide Web, camplittlenoch.org, CAMPLITTLENOTCH, camplittlenoch.org, and they have a campership, which is the same as a scholarship. And so if you're interested, you can also make a donation to help young ladies in this community, in your community, be able to go up, because they offer scholarships up to the camp. And their other website is Friends of CLN, So this sounds like a great idea. It reminds me of camp. There's nothing like camp as far as I'm concerned. And in my experience, the kids who come up who didn't want to be there when they get there don't want to leave when it's time to go.
Yes, may I mention that the first year that I went, I couldn't wait to get home. So this was in the 80s, and so from that, here I am still 20 years later talking about how wonderful it is. So I was that kid that couldn't wait to go home.
Leaving
and
your
now
husband
I can't
behind
wait
for
to go
5
back.
weeks. Leaving your husband behind for 5 weeks.
Yes.
I want your phone number. Ladies, is there anything else you'd like to add?
There was one last point we wanted to make in terms of accessing our property in Fort Anne. For any campers that are interested in the program for girls, we do offer a bus service for campers from Albany up to Fort Anne. So if there are any families out there that are a little concerned about getting their girls up to the Adirondacks, we do offer that service.
Okay, moms and dads, come on now. They offer a bus service. I should have asked about that. I failed in my interviewship. That's very interesting. So, how do they contact you through the website or?
Exactly. Yeah, you can find all of our contact information on the website. Again, that's camplittlenotch.org.
Well, that is very exciting. So, if you don't have a way to transport, they offer the bus trip, and that can be like the days where the parents stood there and gave the knapsack to the kids, and they got on the bus and said bye, bye.
Just like that.
Be good.
Please.
You know what? There is no experience like it. I would recommend it for anyone, children, to get away from, even if your community is rural, because you see something else and you're with people that are not familiar to you, so you get to learn about different people. That's great. That's great. So, anything else you'd like to add?
I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I think
covered
that about
most of
covers
it?
everything. Yeah.
Elizabeth Dunn and Samantha Coles, representatives of Camp Little Notch in the Adirondacks Mountains, and reaching out to our community, inviting young women to get up there in the woods and get a mosquito bite and have some fun. You're listening to the WGXC Morning Show. Philip is on your radio at WGXC 90.7 FM and streaming live on WGXC.org. She went through